Well, good afternoon. It's Monday and it's time to do a really quick garden tour because we don't have a lot of stuff going on. I was hoping that all the radishes I'd planted would pop up, but alas, they haven't yet. Well, welcome back. Over here in the salad garden, you can see that the cilantro is beginning to produce its flowers, and this lettuce right here is making a lot of flower buds too, so it's stocked up really good. Look at that wonderful garlic. So maybe another month or two on the garlic. The kale hasn't started to push itself into seed yet, but you can definitely tell that the dill has a different smell and it's so much taller than it was before. And over here you can see that this little head here is starting to develop lots of little flower buds in there too. The strawberry's just making flowers and going through its motions. There's lots of flowers ready to come out over here. And we haven't started snacking on this celery yet, but I definitely want to because I don't want to miss out on it. This broccoli over here is finally starting to produce its flowers, and so that's beautiful to see. Finally getting to see some real growth out of those mustard greens, so maybe we'll get a cutting before those go to flower. This weekend I got 7 of my tomato starts that I grew from seed, planted up into their buckets, and they were all a lot taller than this if you remember, but we buried them down to their first set of leaves, so they did well overnight, and so it's looking like they're gonna be successful in terms of transplanting. Transplanting something can bring its own set of shock and it's the time when the plant can really decide its life or not. So when you first transplant something, if the leaves start to turn yellow or it starts to seep over, just be gentle with it for a couple days. Make sure you're giving it plenty of water and helping it as it kind of adapts to its new area. Now the flowers over here are just blowing up. Well, the cosmos don't look quite as riveting as they did, but they've got plenty of heads on them. This is a new little flower over here. Oh, I don't know if you can see that very well. And we've got lots of new calendulas coming out. This one's ready for me to come out and collect the flowers from it. But that's a new one. It's a beautiful cosmos there. See, the cosmos are about to come back out, and at the end of last week we got our first little nasturtium down here. But look at how beautiful that calendula looks. That's another one that's ready for me to start collecting the flowers. And there's one of our lonely sunflowers. I know I planted more over here, but that's the only one that I see so far. This is a tomatillo that I'm on my way to planting over in bed 1. I haven't had that much success with the tomatillas from seed, and I don't want to miss out on them. I read that tomatillas are actually a cross breeding type plant, similar to corn, and what that means is you need to have more than one, and I didn't know that until after I'd only got one. So I'm gonna get this one planted up today, and hopefully tomorrow I can go get a mate for it, a pair if you will, to help increase the pollination for that plant. Something I wanted to show you on this broccoli plant that has mostly lost all of its flowers. Now what's come down here, beside from what remains from the flowers, are these little broccoli seed pods, and right now all these pods are immature, so that means they've got seeds in them, but they're not really ready to harvest. So if you look here on where a flower is, what's going to be behind that flower when it's gone again is going to be these lovely seed pods. I did more research this weekend about collecting seeds, And I watched Luke, the MI gardener, and that's where I learned about how to collect seeds from broccoli. So I'm going to let a couple more of these flowers finish developing, and then I'm going to cut this broccoli off at the base and I'm going to let it dry out. And during that drying out process is when the seeds are going to finish their development process. And then I'm going to collect broccoli seeds. So it's going to be a fun year, and I'm excited to see if I can collect seeds from the cauliflower as well. So bear in mind that it's kind of good and fun to maybe let one of your plants go all the way through its complete cycle to reap the extra rewards at the end, which are the seeds. So I just like pulled back this leaf because I'm like, oh well, something's eating that. And look at that mamma jamma right there. How big is that? Like too big for me. Let's get him off of there. He's like, no, no, I want to stay. See how big he is? Now he has nowhere to go, nothing to eat. See if there's any more back here. But there's the cauliflower coming up just like the broccoli did to make its flowers. So this is going to be cool to see. Well, look, there is one of the radishes, it looks like, coming up there, because I planted radishes all along here. So I'm going to have to keep it moist and see if I can finally get some to come up for me. Over here in the calendula bed, all the calendula is really coming up and getting greener and greener over here, and these flowers over here are just getting wild with themselves. And I don't know what's, maybe this needs a little bit more water, but I think that this borage is starting to crowd everybody out, but it's just about ready to make all those wonderful flowers. And I might come in and take some of these leaves off because they're supposed to be really good for you in smoothies. But look at that nasturtium and how much it is sprawled all over the place. Here in bed one, we've got the spinach that's looking better and better, and the Brussels sprouts took another trimming this weekend, and if you can kind of see, there are a couple of nodes in there, but at this point I'm just kind of exploring it to see where it goes. And all of our little herbs look nice up here. Ooh, that's a wasp. We don't like wasps like we do bees. And the kale is just getting bigger and bigger. I'm excited about that. And this is the other side of that giant nasturtium. Now we'll take a quick stroll back over here and check out the seedlings. I've got a couple of peppers and a couple of tomato seedlings that still need to be transplanted, but between buckets and the amount of dirt I had, I picked my strongest, healthiest, strongest tomatoes and put them out first. So over the course of this week, I'll be making a bunch more soil because I got a lot of things to plant. These are the few remaining tomatoes and peppers. That's 3 Anaheims there and 1 bell pepper. So I'm just gonna let these get a little bit bigger, and by the time I get buckets for them, they'll be ready to move up into that spot too. And these babies here are all hardening off. These are from the seeds that we germinated in the bag that we moved into these little cups, and they have just been doing so well. Like, this is my best effort ever, the way that I did these seeds and put them over. And over here's my Valentine seedlings that I got planted up. And so these are like on day 3 of getting some time outside, and they spent the most amount of time that they've had in the sun this morning. Now they're having a little bit of shade time, and as you can see, there's still a little bit of sun right here. So I'm gonna let them probably, I think they're hardening off, which is getting them adjusted to being outside and dealing with the sun. I think that's probably going to line up perfectly with about the time that I get all the soil ready in the different buckets, because not all of that is going directly into the bed. So some of it's going to go into buckets, and I need to make the dirt to fill those buckets up. And I forgot to show you the flowers over here, but they are doing really good. I've got a sunflower on each side for sure, and several little ones in the going to the right and left of it. But here's our quick little tour today, and as we get planting this week, I'll get some footage of that so you can join us as we plant our spring garden. So have the best day ever, and I'll chat with you soon.